Alright, so in the previous video we set up our project. In this video we're going to add authentication. So the nice thing is that Django comes with what's called batteries included. So it has a number of features out of the box. One of those things is authentication. So go ahead and open up your project in Visual Studio Code or the editor of your choice. Open up your terminal, get your virtual environment activated, and then we can begin. So to set up authentication, we're going to first add the necessary URLs, the necessary routes. So if we go into our project urls.py, we can control tilde to minimize that. And then we just need to import include, because we'll be using that function. And we can add another URL pattern. And this time it will be path accounts. And then we'll be using include, which basically means include all of the URL patterns from this file. So django.contrib.auth.urls. And so if you go into the Django project source code, you can actually see django.contrib.auth.urls and see these specific routes. I'll paste them below. So it sets us up with all of these routes. So we have /login, logout, password change, password reset, and reset. So now let's go to one of these routes and see what happens. So let's fire up our development server. So python manage.py run server. And let's go to localhost 8000 /accounts/login, and we can see we get this error: template does not exist at accounts/login registration/login.html. And so our Django project is expecting this template to exist, registration/login.html. So we can go ahead and create that, and basically Django will automatically serve up that template for this login route. So let's go ahead and create some templates, and we can do that right in our project root. We can go ahead and create a file and just build out the path. So it will be templates/registration/login.html. And now by default, Django will look within each app that we have for the templates. So we just need to update one setting so that it knows to look in this root folder, for templates. So we can go to settings.py. We can scroll up to the top and import OS. We're going to be using that. And then scroll down to templates, so row 58, and under directories, dirs, put in os.path.join to get the path for the base directory, templates. So that will look in this base directory for the templates folder. Perfect. Now let's actually build out this template. So if we go back to templates, registration, login, just remember to save your settings. I didn't save it there. So if we go back to login.html, now we can build this out. And I will paste in some code here. And basically we could say that this is block content. So if you haven't seen this before, basically you can combine different Django templates together. So this just specifies this in here is called content. It's not necessary right now, but we have that. And then we also display any errors, and you could see we reference form. And so Django automatically gives us access to this login form. So we can display any errors. If there is a next route, so this checks if the URL parameters has a next parameter, then after login, it would redirect them to this page. Otherwise, we just render out this login form. So again, we get access to this form, method is post, and the action is this URL for login. And this is that same login URL that comes straight from Django. We have to submit our CSRF token, and then we just create a table and render out each form field. So the username label, and then the username field, the password label, and the password form, and then just a submit button. You could also, if you don't want to do that, just include form like so. We'll keep what we have right now. We can save that. And then if we go back and go to our login page, voila, now we see this actual login page and login form. So you can try and log in with your admin user that we created in the last video. And you can see that we get this page not found. And it looks like it tried to take us to some accounts/profile. So the default settings is that after you log in, it'll take you to this profile page, but we don't really need a profile page, so we will go ahead and update that now. So we can go back to settings and just scroll to the bottom to add a new setting. And we can type login_redirect_URL equals, and then just the home route. And so this will tell Django after we log in, where should we send the user? This just sends us to the home route. Next, let's see what happens when we log out. So if we go to accounts/logout, it logs us out, but it takes us to this admin dashboard. And so we don't want every user to go to the admin dashboard after they've been logged out. Let's create a custom template for when a user logs out. So let's go back to our templates registration and create a new file. And this one has to be called logedout.html. And the naming is important because this is what Django is expecting these templates to be named. You can name them something different, but you have to override other settings. So this is the simplest way. So after we've created this file, let's go ahead and paste in a little bit of markup. And all we have here is, again, this block content, which is the composability of Django templates, but we don't have to worry about that right now. We're just going to display a paragraph that says logged out and then a link to let somebody log back in. Nice. And if we go back to our URLs, we can see that we've taken care of the login route and log out. But if we scan this, there doesn't seem to be a way for somebody to sign up or register. That's something we're going to have to implement ourselves, but it's not that hard. We'll take care of it right now. So we can take care of this right in our urls.py file, just so that it's easier for us to follow along. So we can create our view for letting someone sign up right in this file. The first thing we're going to need to do is import a few things from Django. So from django.contrib.auth, import login and authenticate. From django.contrib.auth.forms, import user creation form. So this is the user creation form straight from Django. From Django.shortcuts, import render and redirect. Perfect. So now let's just create our view. So we can create a function called signup that takes in the request. And we want to handle two cases here. We want to handle if it's a post request and if it's a get request. So a post request will be when they have data and they're trying to sign up, and a get request will be no data, they want to just see the form. So if request.method equals post, so if it's this post request, then we want to get an instance of our user creation form. So that user creation form, and we want to pass in the data that they're sending over, so request.post, and we want to make sure that this form is valid before we do anything and actually register the user. So we can check if form.is_valid. Then we can do two things. We can create the user and then we can log them in. So the first thing we can do is form.save to create that user. And then let's actually log them in. So let's get their username. So this will be form.cleanedData.get, and then we'll look for the username. And raw password will be form.cleanedData.get, and then we will grab password 1. So the way that the form renders these passwords, there's password 1 and password 2. So we have to specify, so we can just grab the first one, and then we can log them in. So user equals authenticate, which we imported, username equals username, and password equals raw password. The final thing we need to do is just log them in. So we can log in request and user, and now we want to redirect the user. So we don't want to display another form, we want to send them somewhere. So we will redirect them back to the home page. Otherwise, if this isn't a post request, so if it's a get, then we want to just display the form. So we can get an instance of this user creation form again, but we don't have any data to pass in this time, and we can just return render. It takes the request. We will create a template for this, so signup.html, and then we will pass in some context, and we'll just pass in that form. So form, and then the form instance. So if it's a post request, we're going to get the form data. If the form is valid, we'll save it and then redirect them to the home page. Otherwise, if the form is not valid, then they'll just see that sign up page again. If it's not a post request, so if it's a get request, then we'll just get a blank form and again render this sign up page. Next, let's just scroll down a bit and set up the URL. So we can just add another URL here and add path. We can stick with accounts and do /signup. We'll use this signup function that we just created, this signup view, and then we can name it signup, like so. The final thing is just to create the template. So under templates registration, we can create a new file, and we specified here this would be signup.html. So we can call it signup.html and then render some markup. So here we just have an HTML document. This is the head and the body. Again, we use this block content, and we're just creating a header tag that says sign up and then rendering the form. So we have the form, method is post, the CSRF token, and then we render out the form as a paragraph, and we have our submit button. Save that. Now if we go back to accounts and sign up, we see template does not exist. And I threw in this little error to see if you would catch this. This isn't something that we really talked about, but it's how we have to pass in our templates in our views. So if we go back to our urls.py, which has both our view and our URLs, right here we have signup.html, and we just have to add registration/signup.html. So it has to be whatever comes after templates. So registration and then the file name. So if we save that and reopen that page in our browser, boom, we get our sign up form. So we can go ahead and create test user and then sign up, and it works. It takes us back to our homepage, which we don't have yet, but we will build that out shortly. So awesome. Be sure to subscribe and leave a like if this video was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.